Hey, what the hell are you doing walking around dressed like Star Wars?
It's Comic-Con, you idiot. We're going to the Javits Center.
Well, you're the idiots, because you three guys would never be walking together.
Yeah, you're his boss, and you two guys are enemies.
Yeah, bite me, Captain Kirk.
Hey, Mo, come on. No, that's Star Trek.
Yeah, that's two different franchises.
Yeah, sorry, guys. She doesn't know.
Nah, it's okay. I'm sorry you have to deal with that.
Let's go.
Oh, hey, come on. It's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. Not worth it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fanzone Debate. This is going to be rough. Well, I don't know. It could be. I think it's going to be fun. We're here for a very exciting event. We're calling it The Last Word because someone's going to have the last word. Whoever it is gets a title shot. It's going to be very exciting stuff. We have been talking about doing a Fanzone Debate free-for-all event for many moons. I know Cody pitched one at one point. Kirk has pitched one. I know a lot of people have talked about it. This is what we ultimately decided to do, and I'm excited about it. It's going to be definitely a experiment, but I think we're going to have a good time. So, super excited to have Mark and Kirk here with me to judge this thing. We're going to talk to them and then we'll explain the rules. Mark, first to you. How are you doing, sir? And what do you think of this madness?
Yeah, it's good to be back. Had a nice long break. Yeah, no, this should be very interesting. It's probably the only type of free for all I think we really yet to experiment with, and it should be. Yeah, I'm glad to be here to be doing it. So.
Awesome. And Kirk, how are you doing, sir? And you are Kirk. I buried the lead here. Kirk is the current champion of the league, which is why he's not playing in said event. But Kirk, welcome. How are you doing? And what do you think of the event?
I'm doing really good. I'm really excited to be here. I'm like you said, we've bannered this idea around for a long time. I'm glad it's finally happening. Part of me is sad that I don't get to play it, but knowing the rules and what these group of guys are going to be going through this evening, there's a bigger part of me that's glad to just be sitting back on this end and get to watch them do it.
I mean, and that's fair. We actually, I don't want to spoil who it was because I don't want the player. Well, the players all know who's playing. I don't want the audience to not know. But a couple of notable people did decline purely based on the format of the event. So it's going to be pretty interesting. But here's how this is going to work, guys. It's a free-for-all event, as we've said. We're going to have two people in at a time doing speed rounds. So each person is going to get 45 seconds and then 30 seconds, like we would in a normal speed round in a normal match. So Nick and I behind the scenes randomized all the categories in Fanzone, and then randomized what order the questions would go in, and so that everything was as fair as possible for all the players. But they're going to get a totally random question that they have not heard before tonight that they are going to have to debate for us, totally off the cuff. Whoever wins the speed round debate will move on to the next round. We will go until there are two players left at the end of the event. Those final two players will be doing a full normal round, a full normal 5-minute freeform, the full shebang type of debate round. Whoever wins that full debate at the end will be the winner of the event and will have a title shot. So, we are going to bring in the first players right now. I am going to take Kirk and Mark off screen as I bring in the first player. Mr. Cameron Holtzman is the first player tonight. Cameron, welcome. We'll get some thoughts from you later, but hey, as we bring in your opponent for the first round, it's Mr. VHS Nazario Montenegro. So, gentlemen, you are both aware of how the speed round works. I've explained the rules to you. Do you have any questions before we get started?
Can we Google?
Yes.
Okay.
I've tried to make the questions simple enough that hopefully you won't have to Google too much. But, guys, the first question for the first round of this last word event was randomized for the category Oscars.
Wow.
Whoopsie. Starting it off with the Oscars. But your question is, what 2024 film should win Best Picture at this year's Oscars? Again, what 2024 film should win Best Picture at this year's Oscars?
First pick goes first.
Yep.
Nosferatu.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Sing Sing.
Okay.
All right.
Gotta Google that.
Nosferatu versus Sing Sing. Nazario, you're going first. You have 45 seconds on the clock.
Wait. Like, can I Google a little bit? I don't know what his movie is.
Nope. We gotta go. We gotta go. This is the game. You gotta go. So Nazario, you got 45 seconds whenever you start talking.
I think Robert Eggers is a master of adapting horror movies, and he took a movie that was over 100 years old and he made it his own. He did not imitate it. He was inspired by what its content was originally, and he's actually changed the main character. Now he made it Johnny Depp's daughter, and the way he adapted the whole thing is beautiful. Cinematography, special effects, the way he just made the screen look like it was black and white for most of it, and the way that the film is depicted is just beautiful. And horror doesn't really get a lot of Oscars buzz, but the performances, the whole concept he did, it was a magical experience that if you can, please go to the movies theaters to watch it because it's just gorgeous.
Time. All right, Cameron, 45 seconds when you start talking.
I think Sing win Best Picture because not only does it tell a deeply personal and human story, but it has several fantastic performances. It has great technical aspects from the cinematography, the lighting, the costume design. On a technical level, it is beautiful. The way it is filmed, the way that the sets of the prison and the costumes of this theater group are designed. But the performances and the story are so personal and emotional that everyone can relate and see themselves in it. Seeing the pain in Coleman Domingo and his performance and seeing how you would relate to him in that situation. Seeing the incredible performance by Clarence Macklin and all of his fellow cast members who are the real men that inspired this, and seeing that they are able to take this real true story and make it something beautiful, make it something powerful about the healing nature of art, where that's kind of what people go to the movies for, is to see that art make them feel good. It's the perfect celebration of film and art in 2024.
Time. Nazario, 30 seconds.
We basically had the same points, but technological part, you just want to add the fact that it's based on a real story to give it plus, but not all winners are based on real stories. You have Parasite, you have Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is very fantastical. Like Nosferatu is very fantastical. We have a lot of great performances, especially by Lily Rose Depp, but Aaron Taylor-Johnson is great. Nicholas Hoult has had a spectacular year. Bill Skarsgård, almost unrecognizable as Count Orlok. And everything I mentioned, like, it's beautifully shot, the music, the ambience, it just brings it to life. And let's just give respect to horror films for once when it's beautifully masterpiece like this.
Cameron, 30 seconds.
I think as much as Nosferatu is great on a technical level, I think the story is taking from something that already exists. It is not the most original as much as it might do its own things. Yeah, it has some good performances, but so do so many movies this year. It does not get personal, it does not get deep, and it does not represent what we should be celebrating in film. It is not a narrative spectacle. Sing Sing, it is irrelevant that it is based on a true story, but what it is it's personal, it is emotional, it is heartfelt, filled with an incredible set of performances, an incredible lead from Coleman Domingo, and overall, it just captures the spirit of what should win more.
Time. Okay, great job, guys. I'm going to bring in the judges. Oh, this is going to be fun every time. Yeah, we're going to do that. That's my final answer. Okay. And like you guys have to be speedy, I'm going to try to be speedy. Okay, I'm going to go first. I'm going to go with Nazario. This kind of came down to both excellent movies, performances, technical, everything. Is it the true story or is it the fantastical thing? And I thought Nazario pointing out other movies that have recently won Best Picture that are in the same vein of fantastical and stuff, but not horror, I thought was a pretty good hit. But this was good to start. Mark, your thoughts?
The other way, I went with Holzman. Yeah, I thought he had some pretty good hits on Nosferatu. I kind of liked a lot of what he was saying about Sing Sing, just kind of how it just kind of has the whole, like, it just kind of has like everything kind of goes in the pie. It's just kind of good at everything, and Like Nosferatu just kind of feels a little bit more inside baseball, so to speak.
All right, Kirk.
Yeah, good start. Both did a great job of talking about why their movies were just good movies. But I was trying to find something grasp on specifically why I should win Best Picture, and I think Holzman did just a little bit better job of that. I went with Holzman because that's his name in the chat. And I think when he talked about how it's a movie where, we celebrate art, we celebrate life, that's why we go to the movies. I think that's something I cling to. I think Nazario, he kind of tipped his hand a little bit that he didn't know much about Sing Sing, but still did a good job, fighting against it. I just don't think he hit Holtzman enough on that point, which is kind of what tipped it for me.
I just realized it's not a musical, right?
It is not. No.
No. Okay.
All right. So Nazario, thank you for being here, but Nazario's out, and we are bringing in number 3, which is Mr. Jack Pinchuk. I have realized that leaving you guys on screen is going to make this way easier. So feel free to cam off if you want, but I'm going to leave you guys on screen for these. Guys, Jack and Holtzman is the next round. The category that was drafted is sci-fi icons. The question is, what is the most exciting scene in a sci-fi icons film? Again, what is the most exciting scene in a sci-fi icons film?
Yeah, I'll take the highway car chase in Terminator 2.
Okay.
I will take bullet time from The Matrix. On the roof. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, Holtzman, you spoke first, so you're going first. 30 seconds when you start, 45 seconds when you start talking.
I think what makes something exciting is knowing that there are high stakes, high pressure, and that everything is being paid off, not only narratively, but action-wise. And the highway chase in Terminator 2 Judgment Day does just that. You know that if they fail to get away, if this chase does not go the way of the Terminator and John Connor, then they are dead and the world will end. The entire stake of the universe, not the universe, but the world, is on the back of them being able to escape here. Not only that, but you have amazing action. You have the fantastic car stunts. You have the big explosions. You have the energy. And you have a terrifying villain who keeps you on the edge of your seat with the T-1000, this liquid metal Terminator, who from the moment that they get out of the building is this terrifying, exciting presence that makes you really rooting for and cheering for this exciting chase scene to go the way of our heroes. And that's what makes it so great.
Time. All right, Jack, 45 seconds.
There are few moments in film, whether sci-fi icons or in general, that are more exciting than the bullet time sequence from The Matrix. The way it is shot, the way it is put together, the slow motion effects, seeing Neo dodge the bullets, it is enthralling, and it has the stakes to go along with it. Not only is Neo the one facing off against Agent Smith, who is a terrifying villain in and of himself, but he is rescuing Morpheus, and if Neo bites the dust here, that's it. There's no saving the Matrix. Their Messiah is dead. And plus, just placement in the movie, mine actually has stakes. Cameron's earlier doesn't have stakes.
All right, Cameron, 30 seconds.
I think the placement of when my scene happens in the movie does not lower its stakes. The stakes are still high, the world is still at stake, and our characters' lives are at risk. They fight atop a moving truck. It is insane, it is badass, and it is so exciting to watch because you know at any moment things could go wrong for either side with this terrifying villain. The problem with the bullet time scene is that it is lowering things into slow motion. The effects make it look kind of choppy and bad, which doesn't get me excited. It just gets me looking at it going, that's kind of weird, and I don't get why it looks that way. Whereas in the T2 scene, the effects still look amazing to this day, which just adds to my excitement with the practical effects done.
Time. Okay, Jack, 30 seconds.
You want to talk about bad special effects that have aged poorly? The liquid metal in Terminator 2 looks janky as fuck. It would be nice if you could see most of the action going on in your scene. The lighting's not terrible, but it could be much better. Whereas in this one, it's broad daylight. You can see everything happening. Every bullet that gets fired at Neo just raises your blood pressure every single time, and the dodge this line at the end is just the perfect cap on the scene.
Okay.
I have things that I'd really like to say, but I'll wait.
And
I think Tim knows what I would like to say.
Don't we all in every debate?
I think Tim knows the two things that really baffled me there.
Yes, I think so. It looks like me and Mark are ready. Kirk, whenever you're ready, you can kick it off.
Thinking on your feet is hard.
Yes, it is. That's the.
Oh, jeez.
Tis the challenge of tonight.
Yeah. Truly, in another tab, I just have the every Fandom Fights eligible film list pulled up because I know I'm gonna need it every other round.
That's smart.
That's fair.
All right, go ahead, Kirk.
I'm first.
Yep.
This was a tough one. As you saw me struggling here, I know we're on a time crunch here, so I can't sit there and have that inner debate like I usually do. I had to pick one. I think they both did great, but I ended up leaning a little bit towards Jack, just because I think with what Cam came at, every time Cam had something, Jack came back and said, "We know well." He talked about his stakes. Jack talked about his stakes. Cam talked about effects. Jack talked about effects. I think it got lost in the weeds a little bit about talking about other things in the scene, but I think Jack had an answer for everything Cam had to say. And it was very close, but I'd just go, 51-49 Jack.
Okay, well, tonight might be the night where I'm off of everybody. I went with Cameron. I thought that Cameron explained with the exciting part of it, just described a more exciting scene to me, and kind of gave me more of that when describing a scene and the stakes involved in the scene. So I went with Cameron. Mark.
Yeah, I think the same way. Also, Holzman. Pretty similar reason. I just think at least the way Cameron's talking about his scene, just feel like there's more going on. It's kind of more happening than there was in Jack's scene. And I think Jack had some decent attacks. I just didn't think it really overpowered Holzman's argument.
All right. Well, that is goodbye to Mr. Jack Pinchuk. Jack, great job. But we're going to bring in the next competitor. Another title contender, just like Mr. Holtzman. We've got Rue Moses here for the next one. So this is going to be fun. Gentlemen, your category that was randomized was comedy.
Okay.
And the question is, what 2000s comedy film doesn't hold up today? Again, what 2000s comedy film doesn't hold up today?
That has a positive Rotten Tomatoes audience score, and I think it's very bad and has aged poorly. So I'm gonna say the 2005 film The Ringer.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Bad Santa.
Okay. All right. The Ringer and Bad Santa. Cameron, you spoke first. That means you're going first. You have 45 seconds on the clock.
Back in the 2000s, it was looked as publicly acceptable to make movies that were entirely about making jokes at the expense of people who have different abilities or are different than the was viewed as normal. And I think The Ringer, starring Johnny Knoxville, is a movie that was positively received by audiences at the time, but is absolutely disgusting in retrospect. It stars Johnny Knoxville as a man pretending to have Down syndrome so he can rig the Special Olympics and earn money based off of it to pay off his uncle's gambling debts. That is a horribly disgusting premise filled with ableist humor, sexist humor towards the female Olympic organizer, and none of it has aged well. You have a non-disabled actor playing a fake disabled character, and it's just disgusting. It's gross. It's smarmy, and people liked it at the time, and I don't see how you could.
All right, time. Rue, 45 seconds when you start talking.
Bad Santa is a part of this run of these comedy films that like shocked and awed to make people laugh at people's being in pain, being hurt, and has Billy Bob Thornton playing this out of work Santa who's an alcoholic. And everybody thought it was really funny because he was mad at everybody, pissed off at everybody, basically made fun of little kids, made fun of Christmas, utilized Bernie Mac in a way that didn't really work well. When you look at it now, it's just annoying and mean-spirited, and it's not funny at all. I think it ages poorly because it's no longer funny at all. Maybe the jokes and is not politically incorrect, but everything you thought funny was then back now. You just look at it and you're like, I'm pissed. And I don't want anything to do with anybody going on in anything in this film because I'm mad at what's going on and it's not funny in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, Cameron, 30 seconds.
I think even in the modern day, in the 2020s, we look at people getting hurt and it's kind of funny. Wipeout was on the air for so much time because watching people get hurt is funny. Watching the misfortune of others, as much as it might not be great, you get some laugh of it, and it's not at the expense of any marginalized groups, any people who don't deserve it. The Ringer is entirely based on offending one group of people, a group of people that more than anything deserve that empathy and respect. Bad Santa might have some jokes that are a little bit offensive, a little bit edgy, and have some humor that that isn't funny anymore, but it is not offensive and disrespectful to an entire group.
Rue, 30 seconds.
Comedy's about getting away with things if you can, and Bad Santa got away with not people getting hurt, people getting mean. And when you look at it now, being mean is not funny in any way, shape, or form. The Ringer, they might be utilizing a disabled community to the point where you feel like you're being offensive, but actually the heart of it is they treat people with heart at the end of the day. All the relationships are actually genuinely felt, and he grows within that movie, and that's why you accept it, because even the disabled people are going to look at it and be like, you know what, that was kind of funny because there's all heart behind everything there.
Okay.
Oof. This is tough as hell.
This is a hard night.
Yeah, I don't envy any of you.
And this is only question 3.
Gosh.
There's some good ones coming up that I'm really excited about.
I hope to be here for them.
All right. Oh yeah, I guess I should do the.
I should have picked white chicks.
Oh, that's funny. All right, Mark, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Yeah, a little bit surprised with this pick, but honestly, gotta go with Rue here. I think Rue kind of saved it there at the end. I think he had kind of a solid point to why, like, it at least slightly holds up better today. I also kind of liked a lot of what he was saying about Bad Santa. Like, just kind of weird that he just kind of pulled a switcheroo there, like in kind of the last 15 seconds.
A switcheroo. Kirk.
It was interesting because I like debates like this where they take the question and they kind of come at it from different angles. And Cameron made a pick that's really hard to fight against. But I went with Rue also because I think that Rue, like Mark said at the end, found a way. A lot of times questions like this get difficult to maneuver, and an opponent can really get stuck in the headlights here of just, oh my God, I got to be careful what I say. And Rue found a really good way to close down Holtzman's arguments and kind of, Holtzman made a really good argument about what was so wrong with it. But Rue was able to find that little nugget just to salvage it at the end and say, okay, well, here's why it's not as bad. So again, I think they both played it great, but I ultimately went with Rue.
Yeah, I also went with Rue. I think everything you guys said was right. I think I was up for Holtzman pretty much the whole time, and then I thought Rue did a great job there in that last 30 seconds of kind of winning me over there. I haven't seen either of these movies in probably 15 years, but I believe every word they said. So that means that Holtzman...
Don't do it. It's very offensive.
Holtzman, congrats on a well-played match so far, but Rue is going to stick around, and we are going to bring in our next opponent, who is not a title challenger, but I think will be very soon. He's very, very good. We've got Mr. Joe Farrelly coming in
Revenge
for the next one. Gentlemen, your category.
Shit.
I am so excited that you two are here for this. Your category is Marvel/MCU.
Okay.
And your question is, what is the best performance in a non-MCU Marvel film? What is the best performance in a non-MCU Marvel film?
Hugh Jackman, Logan.
Okay.
Patrick Stewart, Logan.
Jeez, Lou. Okay. All right, here we go. So Joe, you are going first, and I keep changing my mind, but I am gonna take them off. Joe, you're going first. 45 seconds when you're ready.
With Hugh Jackman's performance in Logan, you get a gamut of emotions. He just runs through every single emotion. You get that anger, you get that ferocity, you get the guilt, you get the sadness, you get that beautiful connection he has with Laura, with X-23. Everything about that is beautiful. You get that beautiful relationship he has with Patrick Stewart, that sort of that I want to care for you, but also I'm very angry with everything that's going on in this situation. I think everything he does, obviously the action sequences, that's still part of the performance. You get that. It's also not only is it a personal performance and a emotional performance, you also get that physical performance. You get him doing those scenes that he really wasn't able to do because of the R rating in the other movies, and you get that more physical performance, especially like that hallway scene where he's sort of struggling against the walls. I think that's fantastic. You get everything with the emotions. You get even a bit of the comedy when he reacts to finding his facial hair being cut. I think it's a performance that runs across the course of physicality and personal.
Rue, 45 seconds.
If the title of that movie wasn't Logan, Patrick Stewart would have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Not only does he have all of the emotional gamuts from, again, yes, anger, and going through Alzheimer's and being the center of both Laura and Hugh Jackman's characters' performances, you also get comedy, but you also get the physical performance of him having to deal with the pain of killing the X-Men, but also the pain of him going through his seizures. Everything we see with Patrick Stewart in that film is every Oscar performance you ever see of somebody deteriorating from life, but having to hold on to something, but not only hold on for himself, but hold on for other people. He found Laura and found some Laura to give to Wolverine. So not only is he acting for himself as a character, but he's acting for everybody in the entire movie as a character and a family.
Time. All right, Joe, 30 seconds.
Yes, with Patrick Stewart, you get the emotional performance, but with Hugh Jackman, you also get that physical performance. And let's not write off Hugh Jackman's emotional performance, the pain that he portrays. You look at that when he delivers that It's Got Water scene, when he's doing that eulogy for Patrick Stewart and for Professor X at his gravestone, that's emotion. When he's saying goodbye to Laura at the end, that's emotion. But you also get the anger, you get the rage, you get those moments of heart when they're having at the dinner table with the Munson family, and you also get that physical performance. And I'm going to go back to it. It's in that hallway. It's the struggling against walls, the beginning, that ferocity, everything about it, finding his wounds, everything about it's perfect.
Time. Rue, 30 seconds.
Both of these actors have been playing these characters for the same amount of time, and throughout that time, we have seen Hugh Jackman do everything that you've seen. We've seen him mourn people. We've seen him be angry. We've seen him try to do a little bit of comedy. We've never seen this version of Xavier. We've never seen this version of Xavier have to fight himself as an older person, not a younger person, and do that physically, mentally, bring everybody together, bring the comedy. We've seen, this is an elevated Wolverine we've seen before. This is an elevated Xavier we've never seen in those 20 plus years.
Okay. All right. I realize how I can do this now. All right. Oof.
Good shit, Joe. Perfect question.
Okay. Are you guys good, or you need a second?
I'm ready.
Okay. Fantastic. Probably the best one so far of the short time we've been here. I give the edge to Joe. I think Joe just kind of, yes, they both talked about the physicality, but Joe was able to just give me like really specific examples about the performance. Rue very closely started to drift into the what is the character doing and less about the actual performance. It was very minor, but I had to cling on to something here, and I thought that Joe just did a more succinct job of talking about everything, the performance, and giving the examples to back them up as well. So, Mark, your thoughts?
Yeah, I did go the other way. I went with Amru in that one.
I think at the end, he found a way just to differentiate between the two a little bit for me. I think kind of by pointing out that this movie is asking something different out of Patrick Stewart, and he has to go to those different levels to do that than kind of what Hugh Jackman's does, which is really just kind of a more amped up version of what he's done in the past. So it's kind of where I lean with that one.
All right, Kirk, once again, you must come to a decision.
Great fight. Love both these guys. That's exactly why I'm excited to be here tonight. Both did a really good job, like you both said, talking about the performance, what they did in the movie. I think they both, again, this is very close. But what it came down to, this is one of those classic moments where I thought in my head, if this person says this, they get my point. And then ultimately it was Rue. And it's basically the same thing that Mark was saying at the end, where he said we've seen Jackman doing some variation of all these things throughout the whole history of the X-Men franchise. This is something we never saw from this is Patrick Stewart's going to a different place with his performance. And also I think while Joe really did a good job of describing the performance, giving examples, I think Rue did a really good job of breaking down and analyzing Stewart's performance in his first 45 seconds. So again, great fight by both of them. I hate to say goodbye to either one of them, but I think Rue pulled it out by a little bit.
As soon as I said Jackman and Logan, I went, shit, Patrick Stewart.
All right, Joe. Well, it was great seeing you. Great job. But we are going to bring in our next player, which is number 6. We have Mr. Tyler Birch.
Oh, hello.
All right. So, gentlemen, the category that has been selected for you is directors. Your question is, who is the best director working today? So again, who is the best director working today?
Christopher Nolan.
Shit. Okay. I'm going to go with Chris Sanders.
Chris Sanders?
Yeah.
Okay. Rue, you are going first. You have 45 seconds when you start talking.
Not only is Chris Nolan the best working today, he was the best working of our past generation, or probably the best working for the foreseeable future. And the best thing about him, not only does he create moments like Inception and Interstellar, not only is he the best technical artist working together today, the best writer to bring in just the most complicated stories and make it very easy to follow, make it a spectacle to follow, make it extremely epic. But the one knock you used to have on him is he didn't have the characters down. And even but when you look back, even in his dips, like in Tenet, you had John David Washington and Robert Pattinson to hold on to. He keeps getting better and better with it, ending in his most epic of all, Oppenheimer, where you feel the characters and you feel that moment. And just go back and watch Interstellar and watch Matthew McConaughey cry and all of that, and you can't say that about him anymore.
Tyler, 45 seconds.
For me, a character or a director is somebody that is, good to great. And for me, that was Chris Sanders, somebody who started out with Lilo and Stitch, went on to do How to Train Your Dragon, The Croods, and then The Wild Robot. He's somebody that when you start out, he had a good film that people really enjoyed. And then he upped the ante by doing How to Train Your Dragon, which is a great film everybody loves. It became one of the most beloved franchises that started because of him. He did The Croods, where we got him to do something a little bit different, a little bit of a twist. And then finally, we got to see the latest one, which is The Wild Robot, where he got to try a different art style. He directed really essentially something that was better than a film that was beloved by all, which is WALL-E. We get to see him constantly amping up that emotion, seeing how he's able to convey that, even though he's doing that through something like animation.
All right, Rue, 30 seconds.
In 5 films, Chris Sanders has had one just okay to good movie in The Croods, and one that nobody talked about ever in The Call of the Wild. They don't even want to discuss it, while Christopher Nolan has doubled that output probably over the same amount of time, and everything he's done has been great, epic, outstanding, best picture worthy, and over the top in multiple different genres. Even though they're all within sci-fi, you can't tell me Dunkirk is the same as Interstellar, which is the same as Inception, which is the same as Oppenheimer. You can say that the gist of most of Chris Sanders' animated movies are all about the same, about some kind of family, found or not.
All right, Tyler, 30 seconds.
Thing about Christopher Nolan is that he's always going for the next gimmick. He's never really tried to really push himself into something different. He's not really trying to push anything. He's just trying something different each time. Sometimes it gets overly complicated, which makes it hard for the audience to really connect with it. Something like Tenet. With Oppenheimer, I think a lot of people felt like there was too much going on, too much performances, and it's something that we've started seeing a lot more from his work lately. With The Wild Robot, we've seen how Chris Sanders is able to push himself with the found family concept, which is a great concept, perfect for animation, and we get to see new art styles, we get to see new emotions.
All right. Great job, guys. Bring in the judges. Losing my board.
It just had to be general trivia, didn't it?
That's how I felt coming in against Cam. I was like,
I really expected it's going to be general movies and musicals, and I was going to be like, cool, all right. I'm just not going to speak.
I'd have been there with you.
All right. I think we're to Kirk first.
Yeah, I went last time. All right. Great play by both these guys. I appreciate Tyler's gambit, what he tried to go for there, but I still went with Rue. I think Rue just had the kind of overwhelmed with the information, just all the stuff that Nolan does. All the different genres, all the different things, how he just keeps improving. Tyler did almost sway me with some criticisms of Nolan in his final 30 seconds that I personally believe are very valid. If anybody who knows me knows I think those are valid, but I still think, based on the arguments, I think Rue just had enough there. And like I said, I think Tyler did a really good job of going, when you're going up against somebody like Nolan in a question like this, you have to kind of figure out a way. I've done that before in the past. I think he did a good job with it, but I think Rue just had too much ammunition.
Listen, we talked about Nosferatu earlier. If that and Dune Part 2 didn't exist, Wild Robot would be my favorite movie of the year. I think that movie's amazing. I think it's perfect, but Oppenheimer is also incredible. And yeah, Rue, I think, nailed it with Nolan. I agree with Kirk. I think that Tyler did a good job. And I love it when people take the outside swing like that, kind of throw your opponent off their game. But I thought that Rue held his own pretty well and was able to knock this one out. So, Mark, do you agree with Kirk that Nolan sucks?
No. Yeah, we'll move on to Rue said the right things, and I appreciate the attempt, Tyler, but no cigar.
Every time I go against Nolan, it's not going to work because he's my favorite.
All right, Tyler. Great job, Tyler. It was great having you here. We'll see you next time. But we're going to move on to our next player. Number 7, entering at number 7, we have Mr. Jacoby Bancroft.
No! Let's go. Yeah!
Oh, God. The horses and stuff. Guys, fittingly, your category is epic adventures.
Yeah. The Mummy. Already I know the Mummy. Whatever the question is. Probably.
And your question is, who is the best side character in an epic adventures film? Who is the best side character in an epic adventures film?
Benny from the Mummy.
Okay, I think you both said something different. I heard Jacoby first. Jacoby, what was your answer?
Benny from the Mummy.
And what did you say, Rue?
Samwise.
Okay, perfect. Do you guys agree that you heard Jacoby first?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Jacoby will be going first. Jacoby, you have 45 seconds when you start talking.
Benny from The Mummy is the sniveling weasel of a villain that you need in order to make a movie like an epic adventure successful. He's not the main villain, but he is the character that moves the plot along in an interesting, funny, dynamic way. He's just the character you love to hate, who is always going to screw you over in order to create the most dynamic position for our main characters themselves. He constantly puts our trio of main characters in horrible situations, and he is the one who basically causes all the problems by just his little incessant little things. You want to punch him in the face. You want to hate him. You want him to die horribly. He just makes that movie so much better because of the attitude he brings. He's not sure the overarching top of Emote, but he is the one moving and driving the action along everything that you have in that movie. He's the character you love to hate. It makes you filled with passion and heart, and he's just the best side character in Epic Adventures.
Rue, 45 seconds.
Samwise Gamgee is the reason the ring no longer exists. Even though Frodo carried it, Sam carried Frodo. But not only is he the best character in terms of his friendship and his ability to do everything he needs to do for Frodo, as a character to everybody, he is everything. He is heartfelt. He is funny when he says potatoes. He is mean as shit to Gollum, so you know he's not just the happy-go-lucky person. He is extremely tense when he carries him up the mountain. Everything you ask in a character to build a film, not just for your main protagonist, but everybody around, he does it all. He does the heart, he does the action, he does the intensity, he does the humor, he does the sadness, he does absolutely everything you want a side character to do without being the actual main character. If it was called Samwise the Brave, it would still be a great movie. That's how much he's a great side character.
Jacoby, 30 seconds.
I think Samwise Gamgee is a little bit of a boring character. That's right. I said it. He has too much heart. He has too much goodness. You know what? He is too pure for the movie itself. Enough to where it's not interesting. It's not dynamic. It doesn't do interesting things with the character. He's so safe to the movie. And in Lord of the Rings, where you have this epic, wide sprawling of an epic that you have within you, and everything that's so rich in it, one boring, safe character is not what you need. That makes him the best side character. The best side character is the sniveling weasel villain that you love to hate more than anything. You want to see die a horrible death at the end.
Rue, 30 seconds.
Samwise is a completely different character from the jump when he interacts with Gollum, to the point where you're thinking, wait a second, does Sam have a flaw? Because he's mean as shit to Gollum. He has no empathy for him from front to back. And then you see, oh no, it's still Samwise, but he has that darkness in him. Benny is hilarious. Benny is great. Benny is just a comedy foil. That is all he is. He is the reason we have our team name, and that is it. There is no other side to him whatsoever besides that comedy and that weaselness. There's no heart. There's nothing else but that.
Time.
That.
Oh my god, that was fantastic. Okay. Oh man. Wow. Okay.
Why'd you have to make me fight against him?
I always forget that you both love that movie. Wow. So I've always known that Jacoby's loved it, but then Rue has been so yes on it the last when talking to you. I mean, the last year or so, I kind of forgot that Jacoby loved it so much.
Don't change your answer, Kirk. Jacoby, how much charisma does Brendan Fraser have in that movie?
I'll wait after the answers to my red there.
All right, Mark, you're starting this one, I believe.
Jacoby, if you had brought up that scene where Benny pulls out all the religious necklaces, hoping that one of the 8 that he's wearing will save him, I probably would have voted for you, but this time I went with Rue.
Such a good scene. It's such a good scene.
It's great.
Kirk.
Yeah, on paper, there's one absolutely correct answer here, and I think Rue did a good job defending it. I think Jacoby did a great job tearing Sam down in his second argument there. And I mean, I think he had some valid points, but I think Rue said exactly what he had to, where he's like, okay, you want to talk about one note, let's talk about your character. And I think that was enough to take down everything that, because again, this should have been Rue 100%, because Yeah. But I think Jacoby did a great job defending his character. Rue just had a little bit more.
Yeah, and I agree with you guys. I went with Rue as well. I thought Jacoby did a great job. I forgot that he also doesn't love Middle Earth that much. So when he comes out and goes, I think Sam kind of fucking stinks. I know he didn't say it like that, but it was very good. This was very fun, very entertaining. So great job,
Rue,
Jacoby.
go all the way.
Oh,
You got
man.
this, Rue.
This should have been a final.
Let's get into the next player. All right. One that I'm very excited is here this evening. We've got number 8, Brooklyn Vale. Brooklyn is here. Hello, Brooklyn.
I'm in danger.
The category that was drafted for you two is in the category of sci-fi fantasy. Your question is, which sci-fi fantasy film's world would be the most fun to live in? Which sci-fi fantasy film's world would be the most fun to live in?
Who
The
Framed
Oasis
Roger
in-
Rabbit?
Okay,
Ooh,
so
nice
I heard Rue first.
Yeah.
And what did you say, Rue?
The Oasis in Ready Player One.
Okay, and Brooklyn, you said Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, Rue, you're going to be going first. You have 45 seconds when you start talking.
To be very clear, I am only speaking about the Oasis when you get into the virtual reality, because at that point, once you enter there, you get to do whatever you want, wherever you want, however you want, included being in Who Framed Roger Rabbit's world. You want to be Roger Rabbit, you can be him. You want to be a dinosaur, you can find a way to be him. You also get to be in a video game where continuously you get to go on adventures, try to one-up people, be competitive. You can chill back and watch people. You could be a damn YouTuber watching people do things in the Oasis. You can go for a dance. You could be any creature at any point, at any time, to your biggest heart's desire and content. And you can do that safely without having to really worrying about actually dying, as long as you are in there. And everything you want. I mean, I don't know what's more fun than doing exactly what you want to do when you want to do it, how you want to do it.
Time. Brooklyn, 45 seconds.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit is essentially this hodgepodge of a world where you get characters from either side of the cartoon world, whether it be Warner Brothers or Disney. And you're able to interact with them in the real life. You don't need to have this virtual reality goggles to kind of enter this world. Rue talks about how if you want to, it can be anything you want to be in the Oasis, but that's just, you can do that in life. That is something that needs to be a part of that film. You can talk with these characters, and you get that sense of them from how they originated through the world and whatnot. And there's just so many different stories you can find. That's it.
Okay, Rue, 30 seconds.
You know what I figured out watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit's? Cartoons' lives are as hard as ours. Just because they're cartoons, they are no more happier. They are the same amount of miserable. They have the same amount of trying to work hard just to get by, living on the streets, living for pennies, going to bars, getting drunk. It's the same. You're living in the same world you're living now. You just have cartoon characters to talk to. The reason you go to the Oasis is to do the things, including die, without having to actually die. If you really wanted to live out that fantasy, you still got to work hard to get to those levels. You have to be smart. You have to be intelligent. You have to have some kind of passion to do what you do to get to that point. But once you get to that point, or even part of that point, you're doing whatever you want to do, and it's extremely fun. In Who Framed Roger Rabbit world, you're just living life with cartoons.
Time. Brooklyn, 30 seconds.
Rue actually brought up a really good point that characters' lives aren't all hunky-dory. Sometimes they're going to have hardships, and if you live in that world, you get to explore some of those nuances. People that want to be in an Oasis clearly haven't played a video game, because there's already things that exist that you can do that. Minecraft, World of Warcraft, literally any MMORPG or any open world game that is already accessible. If I want to find out the details of the relationship between Mickey and Minnie Mouse, I can go talk to them directly. I don't have to join a world. This world already exists with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I yield my time.
Okay.
Can I take that?
Right.
No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Bringing back in the judges.
Good points, Brooklyn. That was good.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm starting this one off. I'm going with Rue. I thought Brooklyn did a really good job in his I thought both of them did great jobs in their opening 45 seconds. I thought Brooklyn stumbled a little bit in his follow-up, and I thought Rue's follow-up 30 was really strong. And so I went with Rue. I thought he did a really good job on this one. Mark, your thoughts?
We're really putting in perspective, like when, you're a cartoon, but still struggling to pay your rent. But you're a cartoon, so it's all good. Go, Rue.
All right, Kirk, what would you have voted?
I also went with Rue. Rue did something very interesting where at the beginning of the fight, he just said, "I'm only talking about the Oasis." And Brooklyn very easily could have said, no, because the real world is part of that movie's world, and it would have been completely legitimate. But he let Rue have that, so we kind of just cut off half the world that kind of sucks in that movie. But I think Brooklyn did a good job of defending Roger Rabbit and giving kind of like little points, and even like the little spin he tried to put on Rue's final argument, but I still think Rue just had a lot going for him. And again, like the fact that he just planted his flag and said this is what we're talking and took control of the fight like that, I think is what did it for him ultimately.
All right, well, Rue is moving on again. Brooklyn, congrats on a match or a fight well fought. We'll see you soon, Brooklyn. But we're gonna bring in our next competitor. The next competitor is number 9, Alex Martinez. All right, your category, Rue and Alex, is DC/Worlds of DC. Your question is, which DC film that doesn't have a direct sequel should get a sequel?
Constantine.
Okay.
The Adam West Batman?
That works. Okay. All right. Rue, you spoke first, so you're going first. You have 45 seconds on the clock.
I think Constantine is the most underrated DC film because it has a cult following. It has such interesting characters and interesting world building, and that's why it deserves a direct sequel, because there are so many places you can go with a character you actually like empathize and love, who's an asshole but has heart. Rachel Weisz and her character being there to be the love interest but also be the one to smack him down. Bring back Cop of Midnight because he's a great character, but there's so much a plethora of world in that dark spaces of the DC universe that doesn't have characters we've really seen before but have some connection to. It's just such a great way to deal with mythology, to deal with DC, to deal with life, to deal with death, to deal with angels, to deal with demons. Maybe even bring Shia LaBeouf back, because you can bring people back in a way that doesn't feel petty, because we are dealing with life, death, world, and just all the consciousness of faith.
Something of faith, straight from the record. Alex, 45 seconds when you start talking.
I think one of the major criticisms of the DC brand is that it is entirely way too dark. What I want to see DC explore some fun. They've had really good success with that, with like Lego Batman. I think bringing that lightheartedness, that comedy, that element of kind of whimsy has been really good for them in increments. And with things like the Batman coming down the slate and stuff we've had before, I think that something like another Adam West kind Batman would actually add a bit of levity. I'm not saying that has to be the main continuity, but it brings you an opportunity to bring new actors forward like they have been doing with their new slate. And it brings an opportunity to reduce criticisms on the DC brand as an overall.
Time. Okay. Rue, 30 seconds.
Have you seen the different varieties of Constantine in different mediums and in different places? Yes, there's darkness, but Constantine is such an asshole, kind of like those lovable assholes. You can bring it to dark thoughts and dark areas like your consciousness of faith, but you also have somebody you love and have fun following along with. My question is, who is going to be Adam West? Nobody's going to be able to live up to him or the characters that were there before, and it's going to do the same things we've seen all the time. We're going to see the Joker again. We're going to see Penguin again. We're going to see all the people we've seen over and over again with a lesser version of the characters and actors we've had before.
Alex, 30 seconds.
Throughout the entirety of Constantine, no matter what the medium you're looking at, Constantine is always some guy in in a jacket and trench coat. He's always going to be rooting. He's always going to be angry. He's always going to be upset. And there's always going to be some sort of mystical demon element. The fact of the matter is, every single Constantine story is the same Constantine story. Adam West's Batman is a evolutionary peak in DC because it is kind of what Guardians of the Galaxy was to the DC brand.
Okay. All right. Just going to bring back in the judges.
Good shit, Alex.
Good to see you. Really, all of you.
Kirk, you're going first, so whenever you're ready, you can kick it off.
All right. Good fight. Obviously, two completely opposite ends of the spectrum. I think they both did a really good job of talking about what makes their special, why it deserves to be carried on. Ultimately, I did go with Rue. And it was hard for me. I think if Alex had maybe another 10 or 15 seconds, I think he was getting some really picking up some momentum there with his ideas. And if he would be able to like kind of just see those thoughts to the end, I think he could have pulled it off. But I think with what he had, he just didn't. Rue asked some questions and brought up some points in his last 30 seconds that Alex just wasn't able to answer. I think he was getting there, but I think he just ran out of time and wasn't able to do it. But it was very close. Very good effort by Alex. But I guess I just think Rue was just too much at the end there.
Yeah, I think I also went with Rue. I agree with you, Kirk. I thought that if this was like I don't know what the question would be, but like Alex just made really good points for 66 Batman. Like if we were just talking about the movie Constantine versus the movie Batman 66, like I would vote for Alex, but we were talking about like what deserves the sequel, what should get the sequel. And I thought Rue did a better job of painting the picture for Constantine. Though I agree with Alex's point on like every version of Constantine, it's going to be the same type of story. 66 brings something different. I just wanted to hear what that would be and why more than like everything else that's going on in the universe is dark and light. This is movie light. So Mark, your vote doesn't count. Where would you have gone?
Yeah, I also would have gone Rue. It's probably the best kind of a single battle I think we've had so far. I was really swaying Alex at the beginning, and maybe if Alex had kind of been able to answer at least Rue's point of who's playing Adam West now, like he probably would have gotten the point. But this is definitely the closest one we had so far.
Yeah, Alex, congrats. That was a great fight, but we will see you next time in the regular season. Well played, yes. All right, Rue is on a hot streak. This is insane. Rue came in at number 4, I believe. We are now moving on to number 10. Number 10 is another title contender, Mr. Philadelphia Bill Carriel.
Well, that hot streak's going to continue, bud, because I famously don't do well in these types of bets.
So. Sure. Let's see.
All right, gentlemen, your category that was randomized is biopics. Your question is, what is the best biopic about someone who is no longer alive? Again, what is the best biopic about someone who is no longer alive?
Malcolm X.
Oh, fucking Jesus. Gandhi.
All right. Oh boy. Okay.
I almost said walk the line, but I tore it apart in my head. So
quick tangent. Earlier we had a director's question, best director working today. Someone said Christopher Nolan. Very much expected that to happen, and I very much expected somebody to go, I'm not, and we would have to talk about it again. But that didn't happen. But you still picked some good choices, guys. All right, Malcolm X versus Gandhi. Rue, you're going first. You got 45 seconds on the clock.
not only is Malcolm X Spike Lee's best film, not only is it Denzel Washington's best performance, it also brings out characters from the entire cast, especially those like of Delroy Lindo. All three who should have gotten some Oscar nominations or wins and did not. But the biggest part that makes it so well done is not only the scope that Spike brings you to the dialogue that it's so that's paced so well and gets you endeared to all these characters. Angela Bassett doing what Angela Bassett does, but imagine the transformation that Denzel had to do, and you empathizing with both Red before he becomes Malcolm X, all the way to the transformation to Malcolm X, to the final transformation of him going away from the Muslim society. All of that is paced so well, acted so well, dialogue so well, and you are in it for the entirety of that film.
Bill, 45 seconds.
It is an unthankless job to try to bring to life onto the screen one of the most beloved and transformative, like, just figures in human history. It was no easy task to do, and seeing Ben Kingsley pull that off so well, it is nothing short of mind-blowing. Watching the epic that is that man's life all out on the screen and conveyed in such like a visceral and touching way that Ben Kingsley managed to do, he earned every bit of the awards that he got for it. And it really highlights just the things that he did, not only for his people, but his country and the world in general. It's a truly remarkable person.
Time. All right, Rue, 30 seconds.
One of the opening shots to Malcolm X is a single tracking shot that goes from outside through a street into a bar, transforming from one place to another seamlessly with great pace and great movement. That's how the directing of that entire movie is. That's how that transformation from going to Detroit Red all the way to Malcolm X is. And in 3 hours, you don't feel it. You feel every single bit of the 3 hours of Gandhi, especially in that middle portion where you see the English doing the things and colonizing English you see in all other places. Yes, you see civil rights movement movies, but none like the transformation in different ways you see in Malcolm X.
Bill, 30 seconds.
1 second.
Yep, you're good.
Dry mouth. Okay. So just real quick, that is not Spike Lee's best movie. Do the right thing is that is not Denzel Washington's best performance. Training Day is, because he won an Oscar for it. Just like my guy won an Oscar for his best performance in this movie, which is not boring at all. There's so many problems I have with Malcolm X, specifically adding the character of Baines and kind of rewriting a major important part of Malcolm X's history. I feel like it's just a cheap shortcut. And I understand that this was Spike Lee's big Oscar pitch movie, and granted, like, it wasn't his best, but this one is Attenborough's best. This is Kingsley's best. It is a gorgeous film.
Time.
I fucking forgot both movies. Like, they all left my mind.
Isn't that always how it goes, though?
Yes, 100%.
I couldn't fucking tell you a person in either.
I literally had this conversation with my father-in-law the other day. I'm like, every time you ask me a question about anything and we're like having a debate, I'm always just like, and I forget everything I've researched.
Once you put the clock on me, it's over. It's like, Jesus.
Oh, man. Oh, Jesus. Ooh, okay. All right. Who's going first? Is it me?
Yeah, why not?
I honestly don't remember.
I think best hair should go first. It should be Tim.
No, I went last with the fight with Alex, so I think it's me.
Oh yeah. If you went last, then you should go.
Yeah. Okay. Again, this is a situation where I think if this was a 5-minute prep round, it definitely could have came out differently. But ultimately, I did go with Rue. Bill really picked up steam at the end. I think it was all coming back to him. And I think if he had a little bit more time, I think he was getting his thoughts together and definitely could have pulled out a lot of stuff here. And I think he did a great job for, like he said at the beginning, like, I don't watch biopics. And just for him to, like, get that going was really strong at the end. I kind of was looking for a reason to give it to him, but I think Rue just had too many very specific points about his movie from Jump Street and just never stopped. And I think if Bill had a little more time, he could have caught up to him, but he just didn't.
Yeah, this was this was the closest for me so far. I had to really think about this one. I went with Bill, and ultimately in my head, what I was kind of thinking about was like, who said what is the best? Like, we're talking about the movie, not necessarily like the person. And I thought Bill's point, which again could be bullshit, but I'm going off the arguments. Bill saying like the rewrite of history and everything in the Malcolm X story, like adding characters or whatever, that kind of rewrites an important part is like a detriment to the movie. I don't also normally take Oscar stuff into consideration. I happen to agree that of the Spike Lee movies I've seen, Malcolm X is my favorite one. But I thought that Bill pointing out the fact that it didn't win any like the stuff that Rue was talking about, whereas Attenborough and Kingsley did, is valid given the question at hand. This was super close. Like I agree with Kirk. Rue pointed out a lot of specific things about his movie as well, specific shots in the movie. But yeah, this was so close. I went with Bill on the edge there. Mark, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, do you think it's a little funny for somebody who I think has been on record of hating the speed round? He's gonna go to a 7-1 here.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I do agree with Kirk a bit here. I think kind of Bill picked up steam as he went along. I just think in general throughout this fight, I think Rue focused on what was the best movie, like overall throughout the fight, and and like that's mainly why I leaned Rue here. Is like he kind of focused on the movie where it felt like for a good chunk Bill was kind of more leaning towards the performance and the person, which is I think it was the clear there's a clear thing between the two of them here.
All right, so that means Rue is still on his streak, but thank you to
job,
Bill.
Bill.
Excellent shirt.
I'm
by
so
the way,
glad I
Bill.
remembered Attenborough directed that movie. I almost fucking forgot that.
That's awesome.
To
Bill,
be clear, it's not that I don't hate this speed round. I'm tired of being in them. I just want to win.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Well, we're moving on to contestant number 11. It is Robert Kastner.
Yeah, let's go.
Mr. Robbie Casts, as they say, I hear.
Playing hurt today. Got the flu. So we'll see how this goes.
Oh boy. All right. Well, good luck. It's a speed round, so if you have to run away to the bathroom, it shouldn't take that long to be here. Here we go. Your question is in the category of criminal underworld. The question is, which criminal underworld character would you want to be your partner on a heist? Again, which criminal underworld character would you want to be your partner on a heist?
Danny Ocean.
Turk Malloy. That's Scott.
All right. Okay. Here we go. Robert, you spoke first. You're going first. You have 45 seconds on the clock when you start talking.
In the context of doing a heist, I'm not the person who's going to be the planner. I'm not the one who's going to be figuring out how we're going to do something, the means, the logistics. I need someone to guide me to do so, and the best person to do so is Danny Ocean. I know and I can trust in his ability to scout, to figure out exactly how it is we're going to plan this, to come up with the plans inside of the plans that I have no concept of, a construct of, that I can follow along. And I know Danny can get in the stuff because he's the one who does go down with Linus in Ocean's 11. I know he can bring people in. I know he's got a lot of contacts. I know there's a lot of things that he can guide me along to do that I would need the assistance with on a heist like this, not smash and grab, planning out. That's what we need.
Time. Rue, 45 seconds.
A heist is won and lost in the dirty work, in the details, and making sure everything goes off with a hitch, the in-betweens. And Turk Malloy, not only is he a driver, but he can put masks on. He can be characters. He can go down and help start and end a revolution. He can do technological things, even if his brother doesn't let him. He knows how to do it. And not only that, because he can do all of those different things at all times, I also trust him to be able to plan things out. He's one of the only people who wasn't caught within Ocean's 12, and he was able to bring along Julia Roberts being Julia Roberts, or Tess being Julia Roberts being Julia Roberts. He can actually come up with ideas and help you go hand in hand with those heists. And you need somebody who can lead and who can follow, who can get you somewhere, but can also follow you along. And I want somebody who's a partner, not a one-handed.
All right, Robert, 30 seconds.
I'm not convinced there's situations where Turk will not give in to his worst self and be explosive and actually be able to help me and confirm what it is that I need to do. There's a lot of combativeness in him. And yeah, I mean, they didn't trust him to do the technological stuff. So I don't actually know if he can do it. I'm not sure because they would prefer his brother to do so. With Danny, I know what I'm getting. And he can be a partner because he's a partner with Rusty, and he can be a partner with me too. I trust him in that.
Time. Rue, 30 seconds.
Virgil didn't trust him because he's his brother, and the brothers are assholes. Again, you saw in Ocean's 12, when he needed to not be combative, he was able to bring it down and plan something out and do something there. I'm not sure Danny can do the driving. I'm not sure Danny can go ahead and pass along and run from one side of a hotel to another. I'm not sure he can get all loud and then turn around and distract somebody. I don't think he can do all the dirty work that Turk can do. I believe between me and Turk, we can get the planning done because he has shown he can bring it down. Danny has not shown he can get in the mud with the physical capabilities Turk can, or drive.
All right. Oh boy.
Flu game, Robert? This your flu game?
My flu.
This
Yeah.
is?
I was going to tell you I'm going to mute when you're on but I didn't cough. I think it's adrenaline. I've had the flu for like 2 weeks. It's been awful.
Yeah, your family's been like on and off for like months, haven't they?
Yeah, it's been great.
Damn, man, I'm sorry.
Been a bad winter.
Sorry, man.
That's okay.
All
Were
right.
you exercising too, like Jacoby when he got sick?
So yes, that was that.
Damn.
I flared up on me.
Mark, I believe you are starting on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I did go with Robert. He did I think he did a better job of I feel like Rue made some really good points about kind of doing all like the dirty work. I think he kind of brought an argument in for like Scott Kahn's character I didn't really think about. I just feel like at least what Robert was talking about, those feel like more useful skills on a heist and just something I would rather kind of have alongside with me. And I think for that, I kind of lean more Robert here.
Kirk.
Yeah, I also went with the Ghost. I'm bringing that one back. I think he just. I mean, I basically went with, after listening to them talk, who would I feel safer with? Who would I feel more comfortable with in the heist? And I think that he just had more points for Daddy. I think, again, I think Rue kind of went for that subversive pick after Robert took, which is essentially the number one pick here, kind of obvious. And I think he made some good points, but I think that everything he was saying, at some point, I had heard Robert say something that kind of negated that enough for him to take the win.
Okay. I also went with Robert. I thought that I pretty much agreed with everything you guys said. I thought also Robert saying like that, even if Danny can't do something, he has the contacts and he knows the people that he can get to do it. So that being said, Rue is eliminated from this play. But the good news is Rue mathematically has made himself able to be in the finals just because of how many rounds he lasted. We will see Rue again for the final full round question. So Rue, stay backstage. We'll see you in a little bit. So it all comes down to the last 4 players, including Robert, as we bring in number 12, Mr. Chadwick Webb.
Hey.
Chadwick, welcome.
Thank you.
Here we go. The next question. The category is actors and actresses. Your question is, who is the worst actor working today that continues to get work?
Oh my God.
Again, who is the worst actor working today that continues to get work?
Good question.
I'll go with Jared Leto.
All right, sorry. Okay.
That's why Cameron mic'd off Tim.
Yeah, I love this so much. I can't remember if Nick came up with this or if I came up with this, but when I just read it right before we got started, I was like, "Oh my
This
god!"
is my favorite question of the night so far.
Okay. Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Oh, all right. This is gonna be good. All right. So, Chadwick, you spoke first. You're going first. You have 45 seconds on the clock whenever you start talking. Excuse me.
So here's the thing. Jared Leto started out in the game trying to be some sort of triple threat. He was acting, he was singing, he was doing all this stuff, and he never really did it particularly well. I mean, he got one Academy Award win for an okay performance in Dallas Buyers Club. He would go on to just keep getting a lot of this stuff. And then he started trying to get into his method acting phase. And all it does is just piss people off. And nobody is really impressed by it. He wants to be a big, Daniel Day-Lewis type. And he just does not have the acting chops to do it. And I guess just because of his star power, people keep going hey, people want to see him in movies, right? And no one really does. And I think that's because he just never really wows anybody. He just does the same old Italian voice and stuff. And it's bad.
Robert, 45 seconds.
What I think is worse than being someone who's trying things out and things are not working is a one-trick pony. And that one trick we were done with 20 years ago. And that's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He doesn't add anything. His movies are terrible. He plays the same character. The comedic elements that we fell in love with, he doesn't lean into anymore. Everything is just an action set piece. We don't care about them anymore because we don't care about any of the spectacle that The Rock has attached himself to. Anything that he's tried to he's driven into the ground repeatedly. And anything that he wants to come back to, people don't want him to come back to. There's a reason why Black Adam died and the DCU died. He killed it because nobody wants to see him anymore.
Time. Chadwick, 30 seconds.
Honestly, I mean, I think it's really cool that The Rock has his own shtick, and I think he does it very well. He came into the Fast and the Furious franchise and really brought it back and made it into a big action thing. Always bringing in the comedy, having little ad lib lines that he'd throw in and make the material better. Whereas Jared Leto has never done that. Jared Leto, like you said, tries so hard and just fails every single time. Whereas Rock, he might have one trick, but he does that trick very well, and people love to go see his action movies.
Time. Robert, 30 seconds.
Yeah, they love to see his action movies so much that Red One was in and out of the theater in 10 days. Yeah, you're talking about adding to the Fast Furious franchise. That was 13 years ago, guy. But at least, Jared Leto, he was in Blade Runner, and he actually gave a decent performance. In Zack Snyder's Justice League, as much as he was only in that one scene, at least it was a compelling scene as the Joker, as opposed to what we saw in Suicide Squad. So there are reasons more directly currently that Jared Leto is at least trying and doing a better job, as opposed to The Rock, who his movies stink.
Oh, that was really good, guys. Oh, man. Yeah, that was really good.
I love debating, Robert.
I got a little hyped. I don't really even know why, honestly.
Oh, that was fun.
I thank you, Chad. I appreciate it.
All right. Are you guys good?
Yeah.
I realized after that last one where you guys wrote joke answers, I have not written a joke answer all evening. So I went with Bobby C's. I thought this was really good, and actually, like, I like The Rock. I don't hate Jared Leto, but you both painted really good pictures, and on the surface, my movie theater brain was like, no one saw House of Gucci, and people saw Jumanji, but Chadwick, despite coming out going, well, Jared Leto won an Oscar, which I thought was a weird way to start, did actually convince me that, like, he's not that great and what he's doing isn't necessarily compelling. But I thought that Robert overall did a better job of just, even though I disagree with him, I think his argument of all the Rock's movies suck, he only does the one thing and nobody likes to see it. He convinced me of that. So I went with Robert. Mark.
Yeah, Chadwick brought up a lot of things about Jared Leto that I've believed for years. So thank you for that. Though Robert really just kind of brought it home with The Rock. And I think when I think Chadwick brought up, kind of the box office thing, like Robert very smartly brought up Red One. It really brought it to light there.
Are you telling me that's not your favorite movie of the year, Mark?
Shockingly, no, it was not.
But Tron 3 starring Jared Leto is up there as one of your more anticipated of next year, right? So Kirk, your thoughts?
I also went with Robert, classic Robert. Yeah, I think the conversation became more about like career trajectory than it did actually about acting talent. But based on where it went, I think, yeah, like Mark said, I think Robert just had an answer for Chadwick's takedown. And ultimately, I mean, it was, the one-trick pony versus, big swings and big misses. And I agreed with Robert that I'd rather see the guy taking swings than somebody just doing the same thing over and over again.
All right, Chadwick, great job. We'll see you in the regular season.
Thank you.
I have your
Congrats,
match,
Robert.
I have your next match scheduled, so I'm going to be setting that up soon. So I'm excited to see you back, Chadwick. We will see you soon. But Robert survives another round, and we are bringing in contestant number 14. They are a hidden threat to every debate match they play. Especially if you're talking about Jackie Robinson, I believe. I believe that was them. We got Adelaide Spence here. So
I was so ready to go against Chadwick a second time. I was excited.
All right. So one player after this left. So very exciting stuff. But right now we got Robert versus Spence. And this fate is here this evening because the category randomized was Wizarding World.
God, fuck.
And the question is, what is the coolest mode of transportation in the Wizarding World? Again, what is the coolest mode of transportation in the Wizarding World?
The Weasley's flying car.
Okay.
Dragon.
Nick?
They fly a dragon at the inn at the Hallows.
I'm going to say that's probably true. Yeah, Nick, you give me a thumbs up on that? I feel okay about that.
I don't do that tongue thing.
Nick is not giving me anything, but
he said yes. He said yes. Yeah.
Oh, he did. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that's what we're going with it. Yeah. All right.
Like it.
So Weasley's flying car versus the dragon. All right. We are gonna start with Robert. Robert, 45 seconds on the clock for you when you start talking.
My expectations of what I think cool is something that's versatile. And what we know about the Weasleys and how Arthur Weasley works with the Muggle surfaces is that we want something that's dynamic and something that could be used in the Wizarding World, which it can. It's invisible and it flies, which is neat on 2 different levels. Plus, it can also blend in with Muggle life. You can drive it on the ground, and it is very inauspicious, which is great. So it has the ability to move across both lanes. And in the situation where we're trying to keep things secretive with the wizards, That's really important. So it's secretive because it can be invisible. It's secretive because it can blend in. They use it very successfully, even though they're 12-year-olds and they don't fly it very well. But the point is that they can go with the Hogwarts Express. It's very fast and it works really well.
Spence, 45 seconds on the clock for you.
If we're talking about speed, dragons are fast as fuck, boy. Like, they are zooming through the fucking sky. If we're talking about cool, they breathe fire. They can crush shit with their big ass claws. You're talking about versatile. My mode transportation is a fucking weapon. It kills motherfuckers. It is deadly to so many people. Everyone's terrified. And the Triways are cut. They're like, oh my god, Harry's gonna fucking die because he's not ready. That's cool as fuck. You think, oh my god, a 12-year-old can drive a car? When is that fucking cool? It gets beat up by a tree. That's fucking lame as shit, dude. Also, why do you care about if muggles can be around it? I'm a wizard. I'm cooler than them. I was like, oh, cool. I can sit in your boring ass car. I can fly a fucking dragon.
Time. Wow. Robert, 30 seconds.
Yeah, cool. It can kill people, including the people who are using it as the main mode of transportation. The car got beat by the Whomping Willow, which is the toughest tree in the world. And I mean, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, they had to jump off like hundreds of feet. They should have probably died to try to get away from the Ukrainian Iron Belly that they took to get back to Hogwarts. I mean, yeah, it's a death machine. And the point is that it's death machine for everybody who can drive it as well. As, you know, you really want to be murdering people? You want to be Tyra Banks or whatever while you're murdering people while you're driving something?
Spence, 30 seconds.
I think the term death machine doesn't really apply to this because as we've seen with dragons, but also many other mythical creatures in the wizarding world, when you are kind to them, they are kind to you. When they're flying out of Gringotts, it does not hurt them because they helped it escape. They helped it get out of there. They had to jump because it wouldn't land. That doesn't make it less cool. I don't think safety here is a fucking precaution. When your car got beat the fuck in, they can barely control it, glass flying everywhere. Debatably, they are equally unsafe because their fucking airbags didn't even go off. That is unregulated car.
Time. Oh my god. You could have said broom. You could have said buckbeak. You could have said the Hogwarts.
I was thinking the motorcycle. I was like, wait, that flies. That counts.
Oh, wow. That was really good.
Had a good time.
Okay. I don't even remember where we are. This is 12?
Yeah, I went last time.
So then we are starting with you.
Yeah.
Great. Go ahead.
Yeah, I went with Spence. I had to. They thought outside the box.
Yeah.
They came out with an answer that no one was expecting, and they just brought it. I think they had the energy, they had the ideas. I think they did enough not only to build up their mode, but I think they really did a good job of tearing down the car and kind of negating a lot of Robert's arguments. So yeah, I think Spence just brought a lot of. I think coming in late here was probably advantageous and just swooped with a lot of energy and took this one.
Okay, I went with Robert. I respect the call, Kirk. But I went with Robert. I thought that he just did a better job of for me explaining why the mode of transportation of the Weasley's car is cool in a sense that is practical to the world. And while I enjoyed Spence's argument, they just talked about murder and death and animal abuse. And I don't know. I guess
eventually flew.
So I don't know. But it was very entertaining to watch. Mark, now I don't know where you're gonna go. I'm so curious. What are your thoughts, my friend?
I mean, I gotta do it. I gotta go Spence on this one. I mean, Robert started out by saying it's like what? It could blend into the Muggle world and it could be in the Wizard world. Like he made the practical argument, and then Spence just bashed him over the head with it. Like I got like, especially with cool in the question. We gotta go that way.
Oh my God, that's awesome. All right, well, Robert, congrats. You played great. Hope you feel better soon, man. Have a great night. But Spence, you're moving on, and we're bringing in the final contestant, number 14. It's also Jackie Robinson. It's Andrew James Barr.
Yes.
Please be sports. Please be sports.
Jackie Robinson.
The question is in the category of classics.
Oh shit.
The question is, what is the most iconic scene in a classic film? Again, what is the most iconic scene in a classic film?
Okay, the door opening to the Wizard of Oz in the Wizard of Oz.
Like into the Land of Oz, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay,
After the house crashes, yeah.
The change from black and white to I got you.
Yeah.
The French national anthem in Casablanca.
Okay, Bar, you might want to move your mic down just a little bit so we can just hear you a little bit better. Okay.
I'm sorry. I want to clarify, like the dueling anthems.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right, Spence, you spoke first. You're going first. You have 45 seconds when you start talking.
I think when we use the term iconic, it makes sense to be both within the film and outside of the film. What is enduring in the pop culture lexicon and what is so important within the movie, you will never forget this first time you see it happen. And to me, that's the opening, and the entrance into Oz in The Wizard of Oz. For the first part of it, you have the entire film in this like sepia tone, depression, sadness. She can't have, like, she's just shit in fucking Kansas. She's not having a good time. And then it goes crazy, the fucking tornado, and it lands. And then this beautiful Technicolor wasn't a very popular thing in the 30s at the time of the film. So when you're walking into the most colorful, beautiful set you've ever seen, this intricate, it blows your mind. Everything after that, you're living in Dorothy's moment of, holy shit, this is real. Barr picked not even the most famous scene from his movie.
Time. All right, Barr, 45 seconds.
So with the dueling national anthems, it's one of those moments that whenever you see like the list of greatest films ever made and Casablanca gets talked about, this is the scene that more people talk about because the ending of the film is a great shot, but this is the best scene. It builds up the emotions. It shows why the character makes the turn that he does with Rick. And that one shot of the one woman who, like, the entire time you see her is just like kind of drunk and sad. She's screaming "Viva la France" because it is just so powerful and it drives the story forward. Yours, it's a cool shot. It's a cool transition, but you also didn't pick the most iconic scenes from your movie. There are more scenes like the witch melting, them skipping down the yellow brick road. You didn't even do that as well.
Spence, 30 seconds.
We are not arguing best. You're arguing about the qualitative nature of it. When the last shot in the film, and then even like 2 minutes before that, are famous, every single person walking around America, around the world, can quote that. You are having people sing a song that is not even people go to when they think about the movie. Think about the romance and the characters. These are fucking nobodies who you're talking about. I'm talking about the main character. Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore, is one of the most famous lines in film of all time, and it is that fucking scene. Every bit of it you think about and say, this is film.
Time. Barr, 30 seconds.
Yes, it is about the romance, and this is the scene where Rick makes that turn where she kind of like looks at him and goes, "Oh, there's the man that I fell in love with all those years ago." So you're right. It is about the romance. And with your scene, like, it's, as I said, it's like maybe a few seconds. You're talking about the shot. You weren't talking about the scene. You're talking about when it switches to from sepia tone to color. That's a shot, not a scene.
Time. Okay. Bring in the judges. I'm going to cam off for a second to say goodbye to my wife.
I'm happy it's you, Barr, at the end here. This is great.
Yeah. Me too, actually. There's no way that this could have ended any better.
Oh,
You
and
would
it's
have
not
would
over.
have been fucking awesome, though.
It's not over yet. Though this has gone very well so far. Okay. I believe we are to me, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Good back and forth. I thought that both responded to things the other was saying, specifically about just like length of scene, whether the scene is actually iconic or not. There's more iconic scenes in your own movie, blah, 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 blah. I went with Spence. I thought Spence, it was close, but I thought that Spence did a better job at the end of the day of being able to say, this is the scene out of the two that has stood the test of time and is more iconic today in the lexicon of film than bar scene. It was never in, I don't think it was in question given the arguments that both are good scenes, but I think iconic Spence spoke more to that. Mark, how do you feel?
Yeah, pretty similar to you. I also went with Spence. I think for the exact points you made, just I think Spence, at least, he made the argument of his scene being more recognizable and just kind of being more like in tune with the culture, if you will. Like, yeah.
Kirk, your vote didn't count. Where'd you have gone away?
It was close. I went with Barr. The reason being, I do think Spence picked the more iconic scene, and Barr picked the better scene. But I think Spence's mistake was they spent their second 30 seconds arguing why another scene in the movie was more iconic, and that kind of set Barr up to be able to explain why his scene was iconic. So I think that's why I gave the edge to Barr, but I think Spence also did well enough to win.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Barr, for being here. Great job. And congrats to Spence on making it through. Spence, we're going to put you backstage real quick, and we're going to do a quick recap here and take a quick break because I got to pee so bad. But quick recap. We had a tiebreaker question ready, but we don't need it. I'm sad, though, because the randomized one was fight night, and we're here fighting, and we didn't get to use it, so that's too bad. But very good stuff so far. Rue made it the most rounds. He's made it to the end. Spence winning out among everybody makes it to the end. So we are going to have a full 5-minute round of Rue versus Spence. Winner of that round is going to get a title shot, and we are going to go to that after a quick commercial break.
This is the movie you've all been waiting for.
This is your mission. No, this is an envelope.
That's actually
We're all gonna die!
not a movie,
I don't know anything.
Do you think I'm an idiot?
but really just a commercial reminding people to eat M&Ms.
Wait, what? This is just a commercial?
Can someone shut off the...
All right, we're back from the commercial break. Hope you enjoyed whatever I put in there. Here we go. The question at hand. I'm going to take out the other judges. The question at hand is just an overarching across the world of Fanzone. What is the best movie to watch with a large group of people? Spence, for the intents of this question, you are the higher ranked player, so you're going to be going first. You have 1 minute to open your argument when you start talking.
When I was presented with this question, I think the first thing my brain went to was music. I think music is this big unifying idea within culture about what can bring people together. Even beyond that, as the idea of a film, what appeals to the most people, what makes everybody happy. And I think there is this idea that Disney can be like this deep connection within all of us with like the animated films that we all grew up on. And I think a movie that works for all generations, while it is newer and appeals to, I think, a lot of like younger kids, every adult I know has seen and loves Moana. I think that it is endlessly rewatchable. I think it's endlessly quotable. I think the music is some of Pixar's absolute best. Lin-Manuel Miranda fucking killed it. I think there are so many aspects to how this was created and written, and even the performances within the film. I think there's so much to draw people in and keep them locked in. I think if you're watching a movie, it's about how can you stay connected. And I think that it is fast paced, it is interesting, it is funny. And again, you can do a sing along if you really want to. I think everything is there to appeal to anybody watching.
Time. Okay. We're going to move over to Rue. Rue, you have 1 minute to open your argument when you start talking.
When you're watching with a large group of people, the biggest things you need to happen is you need something that's universal, that everybody's going to like. You need something that's easy to follow, because the biggest problem with watching with a large group of people is certain groups are going to get tired and they're going to start talking and you're not going to be able to hear things. And that's why easy to follow is the best. And the best way to do that is with a comedy that's hilarious from front to back. It's a great rom-com that has a great story, but really every scene is a hilarious scene within itself. No matter where you come into the movie, you're going to be in there and you're going to laugh your ass off with everybody around. And that movie is none other than Coming to America. You can sing along till you want to if you into She's Your Queen, Sexual Chocolate, or To Be Loved. To Be Loved. It is extremely quotable, from aha to I am very happy to be here to That Boy Good to the applause-worthy moment of them beating the shit out of Samuel L. Jackson. But the biggest reason is because in a large group of people, you're gonna have to fight with people talking, going to the bathroom, missing out on points, and you can come in and out of Coming to America with everybody and not lose a moment.
Time. All right, great openings. 5-minute freeform when one of you starts talking. Please don't talk over each other. I will be very upset. I will throw up the 1-minute warning when the time comes, and I will come in to give you the 10-second warning when that time comes. So 5 minutes when one of you starts talking.
I think two parts of your argument are counterintuitive. I think Universal does not adhere to the ideas of the film. It is an adult comedy. One of the first things that happen within the film is a joke about how Akeem is having his penis cleaned by half-naked women. My younger cousins don't need to see that. They don't need to hear about Eddie Murphy's dick. That's not what appeals to everybody. I think there are better fits for a film that can appeal to a large audience. I think yours works with adults, but a large group of people need to be anybody who could fit into that, including children. And this is not a movie for children.
When it's a great get together with a large group of people, one without children. Fuck them kids. They don't need to be there. I'd rather be there with adults having a good time, not needing to worry. That I don't also want to worry about my children watching something when I'm watching something to have a good time. And you want to talk about not for everyone. There are a lot of grown adults who don't like Disney. They don't like cartoons. They do not want to watch a cartoon, and they don't like Disney from front to back. So yours is also not universal in that way. There's also two other reasons why Moana wouldn't work. Sing along is not something you want to key your hat to, because one, people feel uncomfortable singing, and second, if they don't know the words to the song, they're not going to be feeling like they're there with everybody. They're going to be feeling left out. So as they're singing, you're looking like, I've never heard this song before. That's cool, they're singing, but I'd like to sing too. I don't know this. But what you do feel with everybody is every single piece of laughter. But the most important part is that you need to, in a large group, be able to have a movie you don't need to follow along and lose parts, because you are going to miss parts in a large group. And Moana, you need to know the story. Coming to America, you don't. You can jump into any scene at any point and laugh your ass off with a whole bunch of different people who are all going to be laughing with you.
I think it's weird. Like, number one, I've actually argued this question before against Joe, and I lost points for saying, okay, we can talk over, you don't need to follow along super closely. If you are putting on a movie, and if we're talking about what do you want to watch, we are doing the activity of watching. I think saying that, oh, we can be distracted is fine, takes away from the experience. Number one, I also said, sing along is optional. You don't got to do it. You don't got to be annoying like those fuckers in the theaters for Wicked. You don't have to do it. But if you're sitting down and watching your movie, you picked a formulaic rom-com that is going, people are going to be, their eyes are rolling when the laughs stop and need to actually pay attention to what's going on in the movie. Like, oh yeah, this is like 30 other movies that I have seen. And I will say as well, this is not for everybody. The first joke in the fucking movie is Eddie Murphy making fun of Jewish people. I think if you're going to sit here and argue that, oh, it appeals to everybody, I keep knocking down groups of people that you are saying, oh, they can watch it. They don't want to. Yes, people don't have to love Disney, but I think a lot of us grew up on it. There is some kind of like sentimental attachment. And I'm picking a movie that is easy to follow as well as enjoyable. I think that the lot within it is engaging and interesting, while at the same time easygoing. It is a perfect down the middle of a good time, but not a difficult time.
You just went the whole, well, it's offensive now. The thing is with comedy, through all time, if you can get away with it, it's hilarious. And Eddie Murphy basically created the best rom-com and comedy of all time, which is absolutely hilarious because a lot of the most funny things are where you can make fun of yourself. And I know a whole lot of Jewish people who love to go, aha, taste the soup, aha. They absolutely love it because Eddie Murphy is the king. It is probably the comedy that aged the best out of any comedy of all time, universally ranked amongst the highest. And again, there are so many points where people are going to be laughing with you. You just said take away the biggest thing that makes a communal experience from Moana. You said they don't have to sing along. Well, if you're not going to sing along, are you really going to be silent with a group of people for 40 minutes? Some who may not like cartoons and don't really like the movie for that long. Even if you're there for the movie with a large group of crowd, you're going to hear whisper, 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 whisper. You're going to get pissed off, and you don't want to do that. I am not going to get pissed off at people talking and going along and laughing when I'm laughing too at a movie that I don't need to follow along to have a good time. I can leave, people can talk, I can do all those things because the movie is such a communal experience and so universal for everybody. Yours is not universal, and you have to pay attention to everything to actually enjoy that good plot. If you miss stuff, you're like, well, I don't get it, so now I'm not sure where everything is.
You can't be undercutting my plot and saying, like, oh, it's hard to follow. That works for every fucking movie ever. You are arguing two lanes, like, oh, don't need to follow, and also it's a good plot. Those are not the same fucking arguments. You are arguing that, like, oh, you can pay attention to this boring ass plot, which 30 other fucking movies do the exact same thing, or you don't pay attention. What's the point of putting on a fucking movie to watch and interact with your friends if you're not going to be paying attention? Oh, what if people don't like cartoons? What if people don't like comedy? There's so many questions you can ask. Like, yes, we can all unite around jokes. We can all unite around music. This is one of Lin-Manuel Miranda's greatest achievements. This movie won a fucking Oscar for its songwriting. That's how good the songs
people
are.
Don't like comedy. People don't like comedy?
Time.
I don't like comedy.
All right. Spence, you're closing Rue is
Second.
closing
They're
first.
closing second.
Yeah. So Rue, you're closing first. So Rue, you have 1 minute when you start talking.
Everyone loves to laugh. No matter whether or not you like comedy or not, everyone loves to laugh. And the key communal experience in everybody everywhere is laughter. Music might be the key communal experience, but people like different genres of music. Some people don't like Disney songs. Also, some people don't like Disney movies. And my key point when watching a movie with a large group of people, you need a good movie. You need one that is very easy to follow along. But most importantly, you need one that if you are interrupted, it's really easy to get back into. It's really easy to hop into any scene and create that communal experience again. And the communal experience of absolutely laughing your ass off at every single scene from front to back, no matter where you hop in and Coming to America, is going to hit every single person. The problem with Moana is that people don't like the genre of movie. Some people might not like the genre of music, so they don't want to sing along. And even if you do have people being quiet, if you do want to pay attention to the movie, you're gonna have so many distractions going on that if you're ever taken out, you're just gonna get pissed.
All right, we're gonna move over to Spence. Spence, you have 1 minute to close when you start talking.
I get if you don't want to hang out with kids for a party. I understand that. But what you are picking is a movie that is not the most beneficial to a large group of people, random. You don't get to handpick your little fucking party. Anybody can be here. This is restrictive. There are people who you are inviting mathematically who should not be watching this movie. Some people don't like cartoons. Some people don't like comedies. Anything can fucking work. Some people don't like someone like Eddie Murphy. Some people don't like Arsenio Hall. There's so many fucking nitpicks you can make in this, but if we're breaking it down, what brings people together? Comedy and music. Yes, I understand. My movie has both. Yours has sexual chocolate and like half a song. There is so much. There is great jokes. There's great music. There's great dramatic scenes in my movie as well. There's a connection between Moana and her grandmother on her raft. That is heartwarming. And even if you're out of it, it is such an easy movie to come back to because it's a simple, hey, we need to go here. It is a very easy plot, and there's nitpicks within yours of yes, it is a boring plot. It is good because the joke, but if you pay attention to what's going on, it's so he's like he needs to buy a bride but also be poor about it. It's weird.
Time. Okay. It's turned out great. Thanks, guys.
Good fight, Spence.
I have not seen that movie. I don't know what the fuck I was saying.
Good fucking fight.
On the watch.
By the way, Coho, great idea. And Tim, Nick, thank you for having this. This was fucking blast.
I didn't know that Coho had anything to do with this.
It was our match where Coho said if you want to do a free for all for speed rounds, I'm in it.
Yeah, no, he declined being here.
I know that, but he put the thought out there. So
Okay, so we were gonna start with Kirk. Okay. So Kirk, go ahead.
All right. I think I like the fact that they kind of both picked out of the box kind of, these aren't two movies you're going to go to immediately when you think about this topic. And I think they both fought it well. Ultimately, I went with Rue. I think Spence did a really good job of arguing why their movie would appeal to the most people. I think Rue did a better job of talking about the group setting. And I know exactly what Spence was talking about when they said that they lost points for talking about, people talking, and they'd be like, but I really like that Rue took that pragmatic approach and says, this isn't what I want to happen, but when you get a large group of people together, this is what's going to happen, and you have to have a movie that facilitates that. And I really liked him coming at it from that angle, and I think he just did a really good job, and I think the idea of music versus comedy as the universal thing kind of canceled each other out for me. And I think, if this was what was the best movie appealed to most, I think Spence did a really good job with that. But I think that Rue really honed in on that, the actual question, and that group setting, that group dynamic, and what movie you need for that.
Okay. Yeah, I thought this was really good. They both, came, like Kirk said, came to it a little bit differently. But not really at the same time, too. There are just like a couple things that they took the group thing a little different. I went with Rue. I thought that even taking out the specific movies, which is weird, but they kind of boiled it down to like musical versus comedy at a couple points. And I thought Rue's hit of Kirk kind of alluded to it, or he mentioned it, of just saying yes, in an ideal world, you want everyone to get together and watch the movie and be quiet and enjoy the movie. And Moana would be if you're in a theater experience, something that's really enjoyable and a big group of people. But if you're having a large group of friends coming over and they're in a house and people are going to talk or get up and go away and have a separate conversation and come back and they can just dive right back in to Coming to America, I thought that was a really strong point. I thought that Spence's whole argument about the music and how the music is really catchy and anybody can get into it, and all the songs are a little bit different, and there's different beats with the story that are super emotional and stuff. I thought that all worked, and I agree with them on pretty much all of that. But I thought just on the whole, Rue's argument for the large group best type of experience was the winner there. So Mark, your vote doesn't count. Where would you have gone and why?
Yeah, I also would have gone Rue. Largely, mostly what you two said. I just feel like kind of in at least the, maybe not super specific setting, but at least kind of trying to pinpoint what is probably going to happen when a lot of people get together, and just what type of movie is more conducive for that environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that means your winner is Rue Moses. We're going to get some quick post-match interviews. We're going to start by talking to Spence. Spence, you came in at number 13, I believe, or 12, 13. When you got that number, did you think that you had a shot, or were you just coming out guns a-blazing, hoping to just have some fun? Did you think you'd make it to the end here, even because you had such a high number? Where you just what was your thoughts after?
No.
Great.
I was sitting there in that we took a little bathroom break at the end, and I was just sitting there wow, if I had any faith in myself, I could have actually looked at this list of movies and thought about God, who could pick what? Who's the dangerous player? Should I watch some of these fucking movies that I haven't seen before? Both of Rue's picks I haven't seen, so it's I think if I really sat down and looked at myself like, you know what? I'm doing pretty good. Like, this is like, I could get to the end here. Maybe I should read into this. I think faith in myself might have gotten me at least a point. I don't know about winning because Rue is fucking terrifying. But like, I think this helped show that. Plus, like my wins, like my 2 wins, I think I did pretty good at. Like, I need that confidence boost to really be like, no, I can do this. I can stand my own here.
Yeah. Well, Spence, I thought you did really great today. Like, even in the arguments that like I didn't vote for you on, I thought you played really, really well. You came up with interesting stuff, and this whole event was about, you know, kind of playing on the fly. And I thought you did a good job in those moments. So great job. We'll see you in the regular season. We got your next match coming up. I'm looking forward to it. But let's bring in the winner today, Rue. Rue, phenomenal job coming in at number 4. I was kind of worried going into this. Would we have would it just be one person comes in and another person's eliminated? It's just everybody recycles and nobody would kind of go on. But you proved it wrong. You were here and you had a big run, and you were knocked out by someone who is very good in this league, who is challenged for a title as well. But I thought you deservedly won the event, lasting the most rounds, coming in at the end here and beating Adelaide in that last match. I thought you played really, really great all around, and now you got a title shot in your pocket. You've challenged for this belt, I think, just the once against Kirk a few seasons ago. Very good match. But how do you feel about how the event went today overall?
I want to clear something up first and foremost. I do not hate speed rounds. I'm very good at them. I just play them so much. And I guess that helped me because not only in this league, but in another league that I'm in, I do nothing but speed rounds all the time. So I love them. I just, again, tired of playing them because it's like, oh man, another one. Here we go. I feel really good. I am the most confident. You can call it egotistical. I don't know. Again, debate is what I do. This is where I have all the confidence in the world. I can beat anybody at any time, at any point. And this kind of continued to like cement my like, yes, this is, I'm gonna have the utmost confidence with anybody I come up against. And I really just love debating. Like me losing to Robert, that was a great damn debate. And I was like that was a great match. He beat me. I beat him coin toss, or if he got it, because it was a clean sweep. I'm good with that because it's just so much fun to do. And I really just wanted to last a long time. That was my goal, was to last long enough to feel satisfied, to be like, I'm skilled at this. I'm very, very dangerous. And I want to have fun for the longest that I can. And I did. So I really appreciate this. I'm feeling really good.
Yeah, Rue, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. I'm glad you had fun, and I'm glad to see you win. I thought you played great. And honestly, man, like you got the title shot in your pocket now. And we're going to talk about it. We have a set date that you are going to use that title match. So it's for a bit yet. You still have some regular season matches to kind of tune yourself up, but we have the current champion here today, Kirk. You, like we said, you played against him in your last title match. That's not to say he will still be the champion then. He would have to defend 3 times in order to see you then. But other names that I can throw out there for you, you've got your Bars, Roberts, Joes, maybe a Brian, a Jacoby, like anybody that you would want to play, or do you want the rematch against Kirk?
I definitely want the rematch against Kurt. I kind of think I won that title match, but it didn't go my way. But I want Bobby C. Me and him talk about and discuss debate together a lot. And we've been wanting to play each other. Very similar to when me and Bill played, where we talk about each other, we help each other out, we talk about the debates, and we just want to have a lot of fun because we know we're going to bring out the best in each other. And I don't think we both were very competitive too. But on top of that, I don't think at the end of the day, we're going to be upset because we know whoever wins deserves it. But we're going to go at each other at the same time. So Bobby C is the one I want because I haven't been able to play him yet. And I think it's going to be a great match. If that.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So, Rue, congrats on winning the first inaugural The Last Word 2025. You have the last word. You had it. So, Rue, great job. Let's get some quick final thoughts, starting with Kirk. Kirk, what are your thoughts on the event as a whole today?
I think it was great. I had a lot of fun. You could tell, there's a lot of heart and soul put into this, and I appreciate watching all these guys do that. It's just so much fun to watch. Just even people who were just in and out. It was a brutal event where just you're in once and you don't get the votes, and you're gone. But just seeing a lot of the guys that were one and done, I think did a great job. So it was fun just to watch all of them, and I'm glad to see Rue back and get a title match again. I hope to still be champion, get to play him. I'd love to have that rematch. Definitely think he deserves to be there. I think Spence. I hope this is a big confidence booster for them, because I know they really put a lot of work into this and they take this seriously. And I really hope this is a jumping point for them here. And but yeah, just a lot of people are probably like, "Oh, how did you judge us when you're champion? How could you be impartial?" And again, like you said, I may not even be playing the winner, but also there isn't a person who played today that I would not be ecstatic to see get a title shot. So I'm very happy to see Rue here, but I think a lot of deserving people, and I think we just brought out the best of everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, final thoughts from you?
Yeah, no, I think overall a success. Definitely saw a lot of neat combinations of people here. I think just definitely some fun questions there down the stretch. No, I'm very interested to see Rue get title shot. He's definitely been somebody that's been kind of circling that drain for a while now. It's be interesting to see who he does eventually play.
Yeah, agreed. So I want to thank everybody who helped put this on. Thank you to all the players who took time out of their night. Thank you to Kirk and Mark, who took a long time out of their night to help me out with this. And thank you to Nick for helping me write the questions. This was a very fun event to be a part of. We will see you guys real soon. The regular season is kicking off next week with a very fun match. We got Andrew Barr going up against Joe Fairley next week. That is going to be very exciting. But if you haven't seen it already, the last one standing for Fandom Fights has already aired. Please go check that out. Should be very exciting. And the whole first week of Fandom has actually already aired at this point. So go check it out. Lots of exciting stuff. And Survivor, if you haven't watched that either, go check it out. Lots of good stuff going on around the channel. Thank you again to all the players, Mark and Kirk, Nick. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
There we go. Thanks a lot. Come again.
Hey, I won't forget what you've done for me here today.
I would prefer that you do.